Welcome to today's English session. I am DS Chakravarti, Assistant Professor of English, Government Degree College for Women, Karimnagar. In the last video, we have seen the introduction and several examples for idioms, and we came to know that idioms are specific to every language. In this video, we are going to focus on some more examples. Let's start. The first one we are going to look into is birds of a feather flock together. It's a very popular adage, popular idiom. People who have common interests are usually together. They stay together, they live together, they meet often. All my friends have the same interest and like to go fishing. I guess we are like birds of a feather flocking together. This is a saying that has been used by man for more than so many years, more than thousands of years. If we observe carefully, we can see birds, though those belong to the same group, same feather, they flock together. We never see a crow flying with a pigeon. So that's the origin of this idiom. Let's move on to the next one. Cry wolf. False warning about a danger that is not real. I think we have this kind of idiom in our Telugu language also. You might have heard about a story. A boy, a farmer's son who tries to fool his friends and his father by telling them that a tiger has come to eat the sheep. It is coming every day. In the beginning, those friends and his father were frightened, they were horrified by this news, and later they came to know that he is just lying. Though those were false news, that was false. Later they ignored him and didn't believe in him, and unfortunately one day the tiger came really, and it has taken away some sheep. So cry wolf means false warning about a danger that is not real. Let's see it in one example. My brother points to the sky and says he can see rockets flying which are going to crash onto the earth, but none of us ever look up because we know he is crying wolf, because we know that he is telling lies, because we know that that is not real. We do not believe in him. So this is the idiom cry wolf. Let's move on to the next one. Let the cat out of the bag. To give away or let out a secret. So if you are disclosing a secret, if you are telling a secret out, if you are giving information about a very important thing that nobody knows, then this idiom can be applied there. Let the cat out of the bag. Let's see it in an example. We were planning to bake a cake as a surprise for my mother's birthday, but little Tim told my mother and let the cat out of the bag. So that was the birthday of their mother, and all the kids were they are planning to make a cake for her mother on the occasion of birthday. But they planned it to be a surprise gift, and they want to make their mother surprised. But unfortunately, little Tim told his mother the entire plan. Let's move on to the next one. Make a mountain out of a molehill. So what is the meaning of this idiom? To make anything look larger than it actually is. Sometimes people take trivial things and exaggerate them. They look through all those tiny things through a magnifying glass and often worry much about those impending dangers that they are actually not coming. Here we will look into this idiom in an example. We will see in an example. When Uncle Benny catches a cold, he says he has a raging fever. He is always making a mountain out of a molehill. Uncle Benny had a cold and he is so much frightened. He is so much afraid that he is having a raging fever, but actually it is not. It's a mild cold that can be cured with home remedies as well. So this is the logic behind this idiom. Let's move on to the next one. Raining cats and dogs. It's a very popular idiom. The meaning of the idiom is to rain very heavily. If we have heavy rains, where with floods or something like that, then we can call it raining cats and dogs. So the example is, Johnny cannot go out to play today because it's raining cats and dogs. So it's raining heavily outside. That's why Johnny is unable to go to the playground. And the origin of this idiom is, it is a very old idiom. There were heavy storms and rains in the old days that sometimes cats and dogs would drown in the water and would be found lying dead on the roads after the rains. So they are dead in the water. They are floated away from one place to another place, and when the rain is stopped, their dead bodies were seen on the roads. So people believed that they came from the rain. Yeah. It had been raining cats and dogs. So that's the origin of this idiom, raining cats and dogs. Smell a rat. To be suspicious or get a feeling that something is wrong. You become suspicious that something is wrong. You become suspicious, your gut feeling says that something is wrong there. If we use this in a sentence, on observing the thief's actions, the policeman smelt a rat and realized that the thief was lying and up to something foul. Unknowingly or knowingly, our body language, our appearance, all those reveal the secrets that we want to hide. So here in an interrogation, the thief's actions were so suspicious that the policeman believed that there is something wrong is going to happen, that the thief was involved in a bigger crime that he is not willing to reveal. The origin of this idiom is dated back to old ages. It is believed that whenever a cat goes for hunting, it usually tries to smell about a mouse. It can sense the smell of a mouse. So this is the secret. This is the story behind this idiom. And the next one is straight from the horse's mouth. Get some news directly from the person concerned. Instead of the rumors, grapevines, all those hard news, if we get some news directly from the source, then we can call it through this idiom. Then we can assume that this idiom can be applied there. That is straight from the horse's mouth. If we use it in a sentence, my uncle is planning to take us out to the beach and has told no one about the plan besides me. So I have got it straight from the horse's mouth. So we can see here there is a plan to go out to the beach and it was heard directly from the source. That means the person who is taking them to the beach, that is my uncle, our uncle. So this is called straight from the horse's mouth. In the olden days, when a person wants to buy a horse, usually he wants to guess the age, he wants to know the age of a horse, and they try to assess the age of a horse by looking at its teeth and mouth. So rather than asking the seller about the horse's condition, health and age, the buyer usually looked into the horse's mouth and tried to identify the real fact. So this is the origin of the idiom, straight from the horse's mouth. The next one is catch the bull by its horns. So the meaning is to be brave in a frightening or dangerous situation. Whenever we face a dangerous situation, whenever we face a peril, usually we are frightened, we start trembling. Okay, we start our heart rate goes up. All these symptoms will definitely happen. But if you are brave enough to encounter the situation, to face the situation, and when you are trying to handle the situation, then we can call it catch the bull by its horns. Let's see in one example. Jeremy caught the bull by its horns when he dived into the well to save the drowning dog. So one day Jeremy saw that a dog was drowning in a well, and without wasting much of his time. He directly dived, jumped into the well, and saved the dog. So that's why he is very brave. We can call him a brave boy. The origin of this idiom, sometimes at the end of a bullfight. Bullfight you might have seen in so many TV channels. It is most popular in the country Spain. The bullfighter will wrestle the bull by taking hold of its horns. So he tries to stop the bull by taking hold of its horns. The audience believe that this is the bravest thing anyone can do. So this is the origin of the idiom, catch the bull by its horns. Wolf in sheep's clothing, someone who looks harmless but may actually be very dangerous. It happens all the time. We meet all kinds of people in our life, in our daily activities, in different occasions. Some are genuine people, some are hypocrites. So here the idiom is wolf in sheep's clothing. Sheep are innocent animals, they look innocent, actually they are innocent. And some wolves, that means the people who are wicked, who has bad intentions, they come in sheep's clothing. They put on a mask on their faces that they appear to be very kind, generous, good, admirable. The origin of this idiom is also very popular. We can find the origin in Aesop's fables. A hungry wolf killed a sheep and wore its skin to get to the flock of sheep and kill some more. Usually, whenever a wolf comes near to the sheep run away. That's why to eat more sheep, the wolf tries to mislead the sheep by wearing the skin of the sheep. And actually, there is a wolf in the sheep's clothing. The dangerous wolf hid under the sheepskin and managed to fool the flock of sheep. So this is the origin of the idiom wolf in sheep's clothing. A bird in hand is worth two in the bush. It is also a very popular idiom. The meaning is be content with what you have, be satisfied with what you have, because sometimes if you seek more, you might lose what you already have. Usually we can see this kind of nature in kids, among kids. Even though they have several candies in their hands, they try to grab more and more candies. Ultimately they are losing the which are already in their hands. Let's take an example. Johnny had two cookies but was greedy for more. When he reached for the cookie jar, his dog ate the cookies he had, and also the jar slipped from his hands and broke. Now he had no cookies. He should have known that a bird in hand is worth two in the bush. So when you have a bird in your hand, you need to identify, you need to recognize the value of it, and instead of leaving it to the leaving it and going for another bird, we need to acknowledge that we are fortunate that we have a bird in our hand. We have something. So this is the idiom, a bird in hand is worth two in the bush. The next one is don't count your chickens before they hatch. The meaning is don't dream about anything blindly. We might have seen it so many times. And if we see it in an example, Warren spent all the money he had at the fair, thinking his grandma would give him more, but she did not. Maybe he shouldn't have counted his chickens before they hatched. So he spent all the money he had at the fair. The origin of this idiom we can find in the old tales. A woman was carrying a basket full of eggs to the market, and during her walk, she started daydreaming about how many chickens she would have if all the eggs were hatched, and how many eggs they would lay, and then how much money she would make, and how rich she would be. During all the daydreaming, what happened? She tripped and dropped her basket, and broke all her eggs. That's why you shouldn't dream about anything blindly. So this is the origin of the idiom, don't count your chickens before they hatch. The next one, early bird catches the worm. That means we have to be very alert and we have to start early so that we can have our dreams fulfilled. The meaning is to achieve your goal by starting out early. That's what we discussed just now. We have to start early. Let's see it in example. Susie scored high in her exams because she started preparing long before her classmates. The early bird does catch the worm. So when all her friends were playing and enjoying themselves, Suji started her preparation. That's why she could achieve good score. The origin of this idiom, imagine if you were a hen. You would have to get up really early and to go out to catch worms. Otherwise, all your friends, that means your hen friends, will overtake you and they will go earlier than you and take all those worms before you get. So, this is the origin. The next one is kill the goose that lays the golden eggs. This is also a very popular idiom, and I think we can find the story in our mother tongue literature also. That means in our Telugu literature, in our Hindi literature also, we can find the same tale. And the meaning of this idiom is to destroy something out of greed that is useful to you continuously. If you are getting some advantage, if you are benefiting from something gradually, that means in a periodical manner, and if you become greed, you want to get all the benefits one at a time. If you want to get all the benefits at a time, then you will not get it. You are going to lose what you are having right now. Let's see an example. To make more money faster, Joe the farmer overworked his horse to such an extent that it died. He shouldn't have killed the goose that laid the golden eggs. So it's a story of a Joe the farmer. He had a horse and it was working for him, and he became greedy and he started making it work for more and more hours every day, and because of the fatigue and all those illnesses, the horse died one day. Now he doesn't have a horse and he killed his goose that used to give him golden eggs. This is the origin of the story. Kill the goose that lays the golden eggs. The next one, kill two birds with one stone. So the meaning is to accomplish two deeds with one action. If you can do one action and you can get two results out of it, then we can use the idiom in such an occasion. Let's see one example. Ivan is a smart man. When he takes his children to the park, he also takes his book along so that he can read while keeping a watch over his children. In this way, he kills two birds with one stone. So it's nothing but multitasking. If you are doing two or three tasks at a time, then we can call it multitasking. So Ivan takes his children to the park, that is the first task, and during the time he is going through his book, he is reading a book and he is utilizing the valuable time he is getting. This is a wonderful example. Let's look at the origin of this idiom. In the olden days, man hunted with stone weapons. He hunted birds in the trees by throwing stones, and if he was lucky, he used to get two or three birds with one shot. Today, this saying refers to trying to accomplish more than one thing at a time. Next one is wild goose chase. So, the meaning of wild goose chase is a useless or hopeless search for something that cannot be found. So sometimes we start looking for something, we try to achieve something, and even after knowing that that is impossible. So let's see it in an example. Trying to find the ring that Cynthia lost in the garden, was a real wild goose chase. Everyone knows that the ring that was lost by Cynthia is difficult to find because it's a huge garden and the ring is a tiny thing. Nobody is going to find the ring actually. Still, they started to search for look for the ring. Next one, feather in your cap, and the meaning of it is a great achievement. So if you achieve something in academic sector or in your profession or somewhere, we can call it a feather in your cap. Let's see an example. When Aunt Jane got the award for inventing her new machine, it was like a feather in her cap. Whenever a scientist invents something, that becomes a feather in their cap. In America, let's look at the origin of this idiom. In America, people in the Native Americans used to wear feather caps. The more the number of feathers in their cap, the more their achievements had been. So if they have more achievements, they used to wear feathers in their cap. So people believed that if a person has more feathers in their cap, they believed that he achieved more things, many things. Having a feather in your cap means having achieved something great. So this is the story behind the origin of the idiom feather in your cap. Catch someone red-handed. The meaning is catch someone at the time when they are doing something wrong. In most of the crime movies, we can see the word caught red-handedly. Red-handed ga పట్టుబడ్డాడు అని చెప్పి అంటుంటాం మనం. So what the meaning of this? So the meaning is to catch someone at the time when they are doing something wrong. That means during the time of crime, if they catch someone, then we call it red-handed. The evidence is very strong and we can the case will be very strong. There is no doubt about it. Now let's see in an example. Jeremy was caught red-handed by his mother while he was stealing some cookies from the jar. So when Jeremy went into the kitchen and tried to steal some cookies from the jar, his mother caught him red-handedly. That means on the spot she caught him. So this is the story behind the idiom catch someone red-handed. Every cloud has a silver lining. The meaning is there is something good in any situation, no matter how bad it may seem. Whenever we face an obstacle, whenever we face a problem, all seems so dark. We feel that we may not be able to come out of that situation. But in every adverse situation, there is something good we need to find. If you see a cloud and the sun is behind the cloud, we can see that the whole world is somewhat dark. But if you observe carefully, because of the sun behind the clouds edges will appear white, silvery. You can see the rays of the sun rays appearing from the edges. So that's the origin, that's the meaning behind the idiom. Let's see in an example. Even after missing the bus to school, Rita reached school on time, as the bus had a minor accident on the way. Therefore, we say that every cloud has a silver lining. So, what happened? One day, Rita missed the school bus. She felt that it was not good because she might be getting late to school. But when she reached the school on time, after hours she came to know that the school bus met with a minor accident on the way. So she felt safe. She felt whatever happened for a reason, for good. So we also have to have this kind of mentality that is called optimism or positive thinking, that whatever happens that happens for a reason. We need to find the good in that, and we need to remember the saying that when one door closes, another door gets opened. ఒక తలుపు మనకు మూసివేయబడితే మరొక తలుపు తెరవబడుతుంది. That means if one opportunity is gets closed, then another opportunity is opened somewhere. We just need to find where it is. So that's the meaning of this idiom. Every cloud has a silver lining. The next one is get a pink slip. Get a pink slip is an idiom which means to lose your job. Let's see it in example. When Steve's boss found out that he was sleeping all day in office, he gave him the pink slip. Okay, let's before going into the example, let's find out the origin of this idiom. In the olden days, that means 1 century ago, almost a century ago, if someone lost their job, they were given a pink dismissal slip. So their dismissal slip was given in a pink cover, in which it was mentioned that they are terminated and they can avail all the benefits they are due. Now, this is the origin of the idiom get a pink slip. So the person is going to lose his job. Now here Steve's boss found that Steve has been sleeping all day in office. Now he believed that his services are not required for the company, so he terminated him from the job. The next idiom is green with envy. The meaning is to be jealous, to be envious. And let's see an example. When Sarah saw my brand new shoes, she was green with envy. So whenever you have a brand new shoes or you have a brand new mobile, you want to show it to all your friends, and some appreciate it genuinely, but some they do not appreciate, and even though they appreciate on their lips, actually they are envious inside. So the origin of this idiom is it could be dated back to Shakespeare, because Shakespeare referred to jealousy as the green sickness in one of his famous plays. So jealousy was referred to as green sickness. I think from then onwards they started using referring jealous with green color. Let's move on to the next idiom, that is once in a blue moon. What is a blue moon? That means very rarely. So have you seen a blue moon ever? No, you probably not. You might have seen a yellow moon or a white moon or a grayish moon, but not a blue moon. So you definitely you are not going to find a blue moon anywhere. That's why if something happens very rarely, then we call it a blue moon, because blue moon never exists. Now let's see it in example. Nowadays, daddy takes us camping only once in a blue moon. So in the olden days, daddy used to take us for camping frequently, that is fortnightly or monthly. But nowadays he became so busy that he is unable to take us frequently. Very rarely he takes us for a camping. So this is the story behind the idiom once in a blue moon. The next one, red carpet treatment. The meaning is to treat specially, giving a lot of respect. We might have seen in all those movies, and I would like to focus on the origin of this idiom as well. During the times of kings and queens, whenever someone important arrived, they would be welcomed with a red carpet. That indicated that the people who were invited are very special for them. So this is the story behind the idiom red carpet treatment. Let's see in an example. Mr. Hendricks must be a very important person. No matter where he goes, he gets a red carpet treatment. Mr. Hendricks is a very important person. Wherever he goes, everyone welcomes him, everyone treats him very specially. He gets a red carpet treatment. Show your true colors. That means to show what you really are. Just now we discussed that people always put on a mask in their personality, on their personality. They behave in a quite different from what they are. So here let's see an example. Johnny boasted to his friends that he had fought lions and tigers, but his true colors were shown when he got scared of a small fox. So Johnny boasted about his courage, his bravery, that he is not afraid of lions. He fought so many tigers, but actually what happened one day, when he saw a small fox, he was frightened. Now his true colors were shown to his friends. So what could be the origin of this idiom, show your true colors? In the olden days, pirate ships would hoist a colorful flag that was not their own. They used to hoist a flag that is different from theirs to cheat other ships to come closer. So by looking at the flag, other ship believed that they are not hostile, they are friendly. So the other ships came closer to them. Then they would hoist their own flag and rob them. The pirates used to get into the ships and used to rob all their belongings. Now that their true identity has been revealed, now they had shown their true colors. That means the flags. The next one is apple of our eye. That means a thing that is very precious to you, very important one, very valuable thing. Now let's see an example. Robbie is such a fine child. It's no wonder that he is the apple of his mother's eye. So Robbie is a very good guy, good boy. He's a fine child and his mother loves him very much and she takes care of him very much. So he is the apple of his mother's eye. The next idiom, bite off more than you can chew. So the meaning is to try to do something that is beyond your capability. You don't judge your capacity, you don't judge your potential, and you take on so much burden on yourself that you are not going to make justice for it. Let's see an example. Joan declared that she would head all the committees for the school play. She always bites off more than she can chew. So here we can see Joan decided to be part of each and every committee for the school play. That means she is going to take a lot of stress. She wants to participate in all the committees. Actually, the best thing is to distribute to delegate things to others also. Instead, she is taking the whole burden on herself. So she is biting off more than she can chew. So what could be the origin of this idiom? Have you ever tried to put a large piece of food in your mouth? You might choke. Even if you don't choke, you feel it is to be very difficult to have that food into your mouth. You cannot chew all those things. It is like trying to do something that is a bit beyond your capability. You can't do that. So bite off more than you can chew means you are trying to do something that is beyond your capability.